Welcome to Smash Fiction, where we pit two or more fictional characters against each other in a battle of strength, or wits, or, well, literally any task you can think of. Stay tuned for that, and see who would win. This week, Mario versus Barbie versus Buckaroo Banzai. Welcome, one and all, to the 3019th Interdimensional Polymath Decathlon. All eyes are on the Sherlock Holmes Memorial Arena today, as three exceptionally talented contestants have risen up through the brutal trials of the qualifying rounds, and now stand ready to prove themselves worthy of the coveted title of Greatest. That's right, Greatest. No further specificity needed, because in order to triumph in the Interdimensional Polymath Decathlon, you need to prove yourself to be the best at any 10 trials our dangerously whimsical governing committee comes up with. Speaking of which, our committee has come up with some especially obscure challenges this year. The 10 trials our finalists will be competing in are the following. First, they will have to prove their skill at combat. All three will be dropped into an arena with a wide selection of weapons scattered around the perimeter. Last one standing wins. Second, we take to the racetrack. Each competitor will pick from a selection of race cars. First to complete 100 circuits will win this challenge. Third is a more mental challenge. We will drop off our contestants at a local hospital full of the sick, injured, and hypochondriacal. Our contestants will need to properly diagnose, treat, and if necessary, operate on as many patients as they can within the time limit. Get your clubs ready for Challenge 4, because this arena contains an 18-hole golf course, and we'll be testing to see which competitor can accumulate the most impressive score. But make sure you hit the showers quickly, because for Challenge 5, we've invited some of the art world's harshest critics to judge your ability to create visual art. Whether you choose painting, photography, sculpture, or any other visual medium, make sure your resulting work is impressive. And let's hope you're wearing a swimsuit under that art smock, because next we're having a race to see who can swim the equivalent of the English Channel first. Once you leave the water at the far end, you'll have to mount up on an equine friend for a horseback race. But it's not just about being the fastest, it's also about which of your horsey companions will be best taken care of by the end. For Challenge 8, we've assembled the world's worst basketball, football, and baseball teams just before the biggest games of their respective careers. Can you give your chosen team an inspirational speech that will lead them to victory? The grand finale approaches, and we want to make sure that the whole world sees it. But wouldn't you know it, it looks like the station's broadcast satellite's been acting up again. For Challenge 9, how about you hop on a nearby space shuttle and do some repairs 23,000 miles above the surface of the Earth? But don't miss your curtain for Challenge 10, a spectacular musical performance, right here in the center of the Sherlock Holmes Memorial Arena. Whoever delivers the greatest thrills to our audience will get a significant boost in the final rankings of this tournament. Truly a staggering set of challenges here today, but if you ask me, the real challenge is determining who the winner is going to be. Thankfully, I, Dan Mulcairn, am here as your judge today. Am I a polymath? I did once burp, sneeze, and hiccup at the same time, so at the very least, I'd say I'm in some pretty rarefied air.
Some pretty stinky air, too.
No, rarefied, stinky air. And now, for the Decathlon's contestants and their exceptionally talented advocates. Representing the plumber, doctor, tennis player, typing instructor, haberdasher, and time traveler Mario is Claire Mulcairn.
It's a me, Clario.
Representing the surgeon, rock star, race car driver, experimental physicist, samurai, and alien hunter Buckaroo Banzai is MeganBob.
But people call me New Jersey.
And representing the zookeeper, pilot, NASCAR racer, computer engineer, fashion designer, and musketeer Barbara Millicent Barbie Roberts is Liz Logan.
Who wants to party in my dream house? Yeah!
Now, folks, we're all podcasters here, and this show requires a number of skills to pull off. Not as many, perhaps, as what these three characters are being asked to demonstrate, but there's a bit of a spread. Arguably, the single most important skill to being a podcaster is the ability to speak. So, in order to determine who goes first this week, we're going to see which of these three can best pull off some especially diabolical tongue twisters. So,
Oh, man.
you're going to take turns. I'm going to drop a tongue twister in our chat, and one of you will have 5 seconds to give me the best read you can on it. Whoever does the best read based on my highly scientific and not at all totally subjective criteria will go first. Claire, you are up first.
Oh, no.
So go on over to that first chat window we have. I'm going to drop your tongue twister. As soon as it hits, your 5 seconds begins. So give it all you got. Ready? And go.
Pad kid poured curd pulled cold.
Wow, very impressive. Okay. Liz, you are up next.
Goody.
And your 5 seconds starts now.
How could a clam cram in a clean cream can?
Holy crap, you guys are really good at this.
Oh no, I'm gonna panic. I
And
can already feel it.
Bob. All right.
It better be 3 words.
Yours starts now.
Oh, the sixth sick chic sixth.
And your time
sheep
is up.
sick.
That was by far the hardest one.
I will confess, I do think that's the hardest one.
That's
I
fine.
actually think that for me, the adrenaline helped. I just took it one word at a time and didn't think about it as a sentence. So.
Well, I have to say, man, I am stuck between Liz and Claire. But I actually anticipated that this might happen, so I rolled some dice as a tiebreaker beforehand. So, based on this unassailable logic and perfect reasoning, the order is going to be Claire with Mario, Liz with Barbie, and then MeganBob with Buckaroo Banzai. And Bob, I'm sorry for giving you what is arguably the hardest tongue twister there.
Thank you.
It's the sixth sheep's sick. Wow.
Yeah.
No, that is.
Yeah.
The six sheep sick. Yeah, that's really hard.
Yep. So anyway, I'm a monster, and I'm sorry.
Look, you know you're a monster, and that's the important thing.
I think not
guess.
being a monster would probably be more important, but I appreciate that. All right. Mario, I was going to write some lyrics for the classic Mario theme, but then I watched the opener to the Super Mario Bros. Super Show and realized that there was no way I could top that, so why don't you just tell me why you're hooked on the brothers?
Mario has done everything. I knew that going into this match, or so I thought. After going real deep on that Super Mario wiki, I have learned that, no, really, Mario has done everything. Oftentimes, multiple times. Example, one of the things we have to do for this match is horseback riding. I knew that Mario had ridden all sorts of saddled animals in his day, Yoshi in Super Mario World, Plessie in Super Mario 3D Land, but I couldn't remember ever seeing a horse in a Mario game. But according to the Mario Wiki page on horse, which surprisingly exists, Mario has ridden horses in 4 separate games, including Mario Sports Superstars, in which we see that not only can Mario race horses, but he also understands the importance of grooming them and feeding them their favorite foods to improve their mood and increase their performance on the track. You want to talk combat? Super Smash Bros. Has shown us that Mario is one of the greatest warriors in video game history, on par with Link, Samus, and Cloud Strife. And all of those people fight with weapons. Mario's speed, strength, reflexes, and of course, mad hops are all unparalleled. And given how many games he's been in, and how many enemies he's faced across those games, this is kind of grim, but I don't know if we've had a character on Smash Fiction that has killed more people than Mario.
Oh, man.
And I don't know if we're going to get one unless we decide at the last minute to do a match about Thanos. Do you know how much blood has stained those pure white gloves? How much Goomba brain he has had to pick from the soles of his shoes? Anyway, the next few are easy. Mario even has games named after his skill in these fields. Racing, Mario Kart. Medicine, Dr. Mario. Golf, Mario Golf. Making art, Mario Paint. For swimming, Mario has been swimming through water more dangerous than this since World 2-2. And remember Big Bertha, the giant killer fish from Super Mario 3, who will swallow your ass whole if you don't book it across the stage? That'll teach you how to freestyle real quick. Inspirational speeches? Mario isn't much of a talker, at least not in a way that we as an audience can hear, but that's never slowed him down before. In the Paper Mario games, Mario can just make a single nod or gesture, and the person he's interacting with will react as though he's just conveyed an entire paragraph worth of information, And we know so because they'll often restate that entire paragraph afterwards. Maybe this is some form of telepathy. Maybe 90% of communication really is nonverbal, but Mario is such a persuasive and likable fellow that he has been the centerpiece of numerous RPG adventuring parties and persuaded many former enemies to join his cause, such as Donkey Kong, Bowser, and Jonathan Johnny Jones. And speaking of Super Mario RPG, Mario's preferred method of communication in that game is charades. When he needs to recap a plot point to some new NPC that he meets, he will act out the entire scene himself, completely wordlessly, but with perfect Michael Winslow-esque sound effects, and with the ability to briefly, physically shapeshift into another character as he imitates them. The mechanics behind this ability are never explained, but it just goes to show you, even when you think something is firmly outside Mario's wheelhouse, like talking, he has numerous alternate ways of solving problems from another angle. Repairing a space station? Well, Mario has repaired all sorts of things all over the years, including the Comet Observatory space station in Super Mario Galaxy. Between the two Galaxy games and a decent chunk of Super Paper Mario, Mario is no stranger to outer space, and what is a broken space station if not a giant floating space toilet that needs unclogging? In terms of music, we don't ever hear Mario singing, per se, but if you've ever played a Dance Dance Revolution Mario mix, you know that Mario is a world-class breakdancer, and there was that one time he dressed like a rapper and did some sick beatboxing in a commercial for Mario Pinball Land. So I'm thinking Mario's gonna bust out some sort of acrobatic hip-hop dance number that utilizes his own body and environment to create a song comprised of nothing but percussion, in the vein of Stomp. You ever seen that thing they do with the brooms? American Idol can eat a dick. That shit's magical. Mario might not have pitch, but decades of timing-based minigames mean that boy has rhythm. What separates Mario from Barbie and Buckaroo Banzai is that the other two are usually engaging in their various hobbies for fun. They're often not competing against anyone else and nothing is on the line, so we really don't get much of a sense for how good at these tasks they actually are. With Mario, though, we know how good he is, because especially in the RPG games, Mario is regularly dropped into crazy scenarios unlike anything he's ever dealt with before, and he has to sink or swim because death is always on the line. In Super Mario RPG, Mario has to ride down a barrel on a waterfall or die, navigate a nightmarish maze as poisoned arrows rain from the sky or die, ride a minecart through a perilous labyrinth of broken tracks or die, paint himself gold and disguise himself as a living statue or die. In Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door, Mario has to solve a murder mystery on a train, win a professional wrestling championship, and climb into a cannon that shoots him to the moon. Mario lives in a world where gravity is constantly changing, the floor beneath you is sinking into lava, and your own body is being mutated from a frog to a cat to a tank, and you just gotta roll with it. He fights ghosts and living bombs and the sun itself as it descends from the sky to murder him. Many people think of Mario as a plumber, but before that, he did demolition, and before that, he was a carpenter. So I think it's fair to say that the more fitting title for Mario's occupation is the ultimate handyman. Every day is a new disaster, but whatever comes his way, he can handle it.
That was excellent. One up for you, I guess. I don't know. And moving on. Come on, Barbie. Let's go. Opening arguments.
That was great, Judge. I really like that introduction.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So this is normally when I list all the alluring and or, impressive attributes about my character. Well, if I did that tonight, this recording would be about 50 times longer and not exponentially more interesting, so I really don't want to put any of you through that. I think that if I just say, hi, I'm Liz Logan and I'm representing Barbie, that's honestly enough to just outright win this. I know Barbie probably has some detractors from that statement, namely Bob and Claire, but you know what? That's been the story of Barbie's life. That's what some schmuck said when she wanted to be a veterinarian. It's what someone said when she wanted to be a paratrooper, when she wanted to be a chef, when she wanted to just be a goddamn princess! Barbie has been more things in her life than probably any character, fictional or not, has ever been. Barbie has succeeded at more things than any other character. She always retains her knowledge of all of her careers. She has been inspiring kids since 1959, the year of Our Lady Barbie, and now she's going to inspire all of you to be who you want to be! Which is a winner. We're going to win this match, Barbie. While Barbie could easily handle all these challenges our not space judge has set before us, I want to highlight ones where she would completely steal the show, as she usually does. As of 2019, the new year of Our Lady Barbie, she has been all of the following in the field of medicine. an eye doctor, dentist, nurse, doctor, surgeon, and veterinarian, some of which are referenced in Barbie episode 41, Dr. Barbie. Her vast experience in so many fields makes her uniquely capable of handling any situation set before her at this local hospital. She can operate, she can do a simple reflex test, she can simply make a patient feel better by being her crazy self. Barbie has the smarts, bedside care, and probably some cute fluffy animal around to help her take care of those patients no matter what their ailment. I mean, who doesn't want to be cured by something called penicillin? Now, many of you probably have discounted Barbie's prowess when it comes to the matter of space in our little competition here. Well, you would be extremely mistaken because Barbie has counted her lucky stars because I, Liz Logan, am her duly appointed representative in this battle. As space judge, I endorse Barbie over any other candidate here, and for good reason, because she already has experience owning and operating her own fucking space station. In Barbie episode 69, Mooning Over You, Barbie and her idiot Ken successfully launch onto an asteroid to collect some samples. Not only is she unfazed by the vastness of space, she maintains composure when Ken manages to untether himself to her. She is able to get him back and still harvest her space sequins. Also, her space shuttle is driven by a horse. Do I really need to say more? So, here we are on to Barbie's untold power levels for the combat challenge. Barbie is a trained martial artist, always ready to spar, break boards, or heads, wrestle to the ground, and still look good doing it. She can move in ways the normal human body can't. With her 22 flexible joints, she gives new meaning to end over end when she plastic cannonballs right into your face. Barbie's whole body is a weapon. She wouldn't need to waste time acquiring some armament from the sidelines. She'd just jump right to the punchline. Ooh. For the finale of her performance, Barbie will be gracing this competition with her stunning musical vision. Though her two favorite instruments are guitar and keyboard, one of which has a removable strap, she has an amazing voice as well, having performed great hits such as What If I Shine and We're Taking Over, which, respectively, have millions of views on the internet. Now you may think, oh, she has so many views because it's so spectacularly bad. Well, guess what? No one likes a hater. Barbie and her rabid 12-year-old fans don't give a fuck about what you think because clearly what she is doing is inspiring. Oh, and did I mention she dances too? And there you have it. I have scientifically proven that Barbie is smart, creative, and unafraid to get physical. She is the perfect competitor. That's why she's been cloned so many times. She's basically a plastic Terminator, and as the show knows, the Terminators always win.
That was surprisingly compelling, Barbie. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Judge.
And now, I call this segment Buckaroo Banzai against the much more well-known characters.
So I heard you narrowed it down to 3 characters for your Polymathlete movie. Now, why on earth you would make that movie, I have no idea, but we're not here to solve the mysteries of the universe. What I am here to do is to get Buckaroo Banzai the vindication he deserves. Yeah, he looks like a weedy nerd, but you get him in combat, and he can take out aliens with firearms in a pinch. He can even work with baby Jeff Goldblum for a partner, who is playing a character who couldn't even find his ass with both hands despite being a doctor. Speaking of being a doctor, Banzai does surgery minutes before he's supposed to test an experimental dimension-hopping race truck thing. Talk about working in a time crunch. Yeah, for the cart challenge, of course people are going to give him flack. Because, is that really racing? He's just driving. Yeah, he's racing physics so he can drive through a fucking mountain. Dodging a blue shell or whatever is small potatoes when you're dodging being a smear on the side of a natural geologic feature. So he's good with cars. But horses? There's not even an animal in the film, right? Buckaroo Banzai probably doesn't even know what a horse is. Okay, I know horses. Banzai doesn't know horses, but he does know something about aliens. I don't want to blow your mind, but horses are absolutely aliens. That body design makes no sense outside of science fiction. It's like trying to balance a yam on 4 toothpicks. This is an evolutionary quirk that makes sense on a low-gravity planet. But you ever wonder why horses break their limbs? Why they're scared of plastic bags? Why they swallow air and burp for fun? Aliens. Take one look in their weird, gooey marble eyes and accept it. The truth is out there, and it's got hooves. Yeah, I hear you. You've got your heart set on Mario, Barbie, because they're gonna take that art competition in a cakewalk. Wrong, pal. Cosplay is a visual art, and Buckaroo Banzai is all of your Doctor Who fanfic brought to life. Did you see him in that dorky little suit with a bow tie and the red glasses? He looks like baby's first physics conference. That vast knowledge combined with a kind of otherworldly naivete. Matt Smith, fuckers, meet the original, the daddy doctor, if you will. And then you see him performing that concert. He was adamant with a slightly more practical haircut. Cosplay perfection. That also takes care of his performing a rocking concert. That's not even a question, is it? Music is about sex appeal, and if there's a merciful God in heaven, people do not want to bone down with Barbie. Now, I personally would not say no to Bob Hoskins, were he still alive. But we're dealing with regular Mario here, and that is not a mustache ride that anyone is signing up for. Case closed for the music challenge. As for that damn satellite, he can bring people back to life. At the end of the movie, he tries to kiss a corpse. Look, the 80s were a weird time. And the magic alien zap powers that the black lectoids gave him zap Penny, and she goes from stiff to, well, to making other things stiff. But look, the point is, if he can kiss someone back from death, he can feel up a satellite and probably get it to give you HBO for free. If you don't believe that's technical enough, he understands physics and electronics enough to be the guy who explains that shit to the president and to be the guy driving the interdimensional Uber. If there's one thing he can do, it's pull out some technobabble and make a machine do something that we weren't sure was even possible. I'm not gonna waste your time trying to convince you that he can do a motivational speech. This is the guy who has to be on the phone to the aliens. Horses. And the president. This is the guy who has to get people horny enough about physics to give a shit about the space between electrons and nuclei. There is not a tougher level of trying to get people inspired than that. He's adamant Doctor Who. He says mysterious shit like, wherever you go, there you are. He gets sad waifs who hate life to fall in love and then go on future adventures with him. His charisma is so high. Jeff fucking Goldblum has to wear a red cartoon cowboy outfit just to compete with it. In a movie about an interdimensional Dr. Rockstar, Jeff Goldblum is the sidekick. What kind of gravitas, charm, and performance do you have to be bringing to the table to be playing the role that in any rational world would have gone to Goldblum? You have to be Buckaroo Banzai, that's who. So, anyway, I'm sorry I trapped you in this taxi to give you the pitch. I have disengaged the child locks, and your fare is $17.
Bob, I don't know why I didn't anticipate a largely sex appeal-based argument, but more the fool me, as far as I'm concerned. Well, we've gotten through the first few challenges, but we are a long way from determining which of these characters is truly the most jacked of all trades. So, let's challenge ourselves with some rebuttals. We will begin with Mario, so Liz and Bob, start talking trash about this plumber.
Sure.
Okay.
Does Mario even have arms or hands? I don't think Mario is real.
Interesting leading point, all right.
Is this about the fact that he usually wears long sleeves and gloves?
I just don't think he's real. I don't think things exist on him.
I mean, none of these are real. That's why it's not called Smash Reality.
Barbie is definitely real. I was friends with her when I was 5.
All right, well, I don't want this particular line of inquiry to go for too long, but it has been logged. Some questions brought up about whether Mario exists or not. Very good.
Since he doesn't have arms or hands, I definitely wouldn't want him to be my doctor.
He does have arms and hands. There's one of the most popular speedrun challenges for Super Mario Odyssey is the ability to see how fast you can unlock the swimsuit costume. It's a race to see how little time you can see Mario's nipples.
I'm not convinced, Claire. I think he just has a big hard hat and hits his head against things, and I think that's how he makes his way.
I think you're thinking of one of the villains from Mega Man.
I rest my case.
All right, I'll take it from here. He's not a real doctor. He's a pill jockey. He's just giving out prescriptions in his game.
So, within the context of the original game, Dr. Mario, the plot is that the actual doctor is, like, unavailable, and Mario has to take over for the day.
Oh, jeez!
I will point this out. And he learns on the job, like he learns everything, and discovers that the problem that is going on this time is this breakout for these viruses, but they can be treated by these certain kind of pills. So he learns this one on the job, and he does solve it with the correct method, which are these certain pills that can defeat these certain kinds of viruses. But as time goes on, it is stated that the doctor who had that on duty thought he was doing such a good job that he decides to just go play golf and makes Mario the official all-the-time doctor. So he is now the Mushroom Kingdom's only plumber and only doctor. It's in one of the comic books.
There is some, like, ethically bankrupt people working professionally in the Mushroom Kingdom.
You are correct, but I will say that, in answer to Bob's point, the things that we see him doing where he's just using pills all the time is within the context of the Dr. Mario games when he's dealing with a certain type of outbreak of viruses, but it's implied in the fiction that he's a more general, well-rounded type of doctor the rest of the time. The fact that he's still doing it for years is probably a sign that, he can't be doing that bad.
Or that there's only one doctor in the Mushroom Kingdom and they take what they could get, but fair enough.
There's Dr. Egad.
Life in the Mushroom Kingdom is rough, y'all.
It sure is.
All right, Claire, I realized that you made a rousing case for Mario being able to do speech. I question whether that speech will be inspiring.
I mean, if in the middle of a speech, the person giving the speech can shapeshift into you and then shapeshift into your opponent back and forth and, like, play out a little drama of you defeating your opponents, I think that that's pretty damn inspiring, especially if there's, like, silly sound effects and physical comedy throughout it.
Oh, that sounds like a real your mileage may vary on that one, but okay.
All right, that was very good. We are now moving on to the Barbie phase of rebuttals. So Claire and Bob...
we all had a Barbie phase.
Oh boy, did we. Claire and Bob, I guess, start brushing her hair and picking out some outfits for her, I guess. That's what Barbie phases usually look like, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to go first, Bob? Or?
Sure. Dilettante. How many careers have you had? You have had too many careers in too short a space of time to have mastered any of them. I think some of these were like honorary degrees. Just saying.
Where's your evidence?
The linear progression of time, I guess, is my evidence.
Joke's on you. Barbie's made of plastic. She doesn't age.
Well, that's me taken care of, I guess.
Okay, in the series Barbie Life in the Dream House, we get the sense that she has very limited knowledge about how the world operates outside the dream house. She is a doctor, yes, but she is specifically a doctor of dolls. She listens for people's heartbeats, and then when he hears nothing says, "That's great, because you're a doll, and you shouldn't have a heartbeat." And she's likely to give people, you mentioned pinkacillin, which is the treatment for plastic pox. So,
did we all watch that Barbie short? Is that...
Please tell me you did.
Yes, Liz recommended that one. I watched a lot of other Life in the Dream House. It is a delight, I will say.
It is! Thank you so much. I feel so happy. It's so funny.
That's one series recommended for our listeners. Liz, what do you have to say in response to this accusation that you don't understand human anatomy?
Well, here's the thing. Everything Barbie treats and does in her Barbie life, her plastic doll life, directly translates over to humans. So all she has to say, "Oh, we're playing opposite day," and then she'll know how to treat humans. Because again, everything that she does for her dolls is based in some way off human experiences, so she'll figure it out. And she's been to space. Pretty sure she's, like, legit.
Well, one thing I want to point out is that in a lot of Barbie's exploits, some of, like, the movies and stuff like that, she has a different name. Like, she's named Alexa in Barbie and the Secret Door, or she's named Marabella in Princess and the Pop Star, and has, like, a vastly different backstory. And it's generally accepted by fans, I have read online, that what's up with these movies is that one of her careers, she's an actress, and a lot of her movies are just her acting in movies. Some of the stuff she actually does, but a lot of her more, like, crazy action adventure sci-fi stuff is, like, movies that she's been in, but not her actual life.
So I totally see what you're saying, but here's where you're mistaken. It's not that she's an actress. They're clones. Barbies all over, these clones are connected to one central hive mind. What? And now what Barbie does is that they can all communicate with each other. Like, think of the mechanical tentacle monsters from Matrix, but just imagine Barbies. Or, as I said earlier, all the Terminators, except a plastic woman.
Asterisk, source needed.
The vastness of Barbie's power cannot be comprehended by humans.
I can see that you're really countering this Mario isn't real thing with Barbie isn't real, so we're...
Well, here's the thing. There's plenty of physical Barbies around. Now imagine all of those in every household. We should be afraid.
I'm already afraid. Bob, do you have any further points you would like to make?
I don't think Barbie has a killer instinct. I don't think Barbie can take people in a fight.
Did I not explain the plastic Terminator? She is the plastic Terminator. She has 22 flexible joints. She would definitely win in a fight.
I have more than that, and I have yet to win a fight.
She has been winning battles since 1959. She would not be around if she couldn't win battles. Okay? She's a Terminator.
Okay, so just she generally has a pretty tenuous grasp on reality. Like, there's a movie called Barbie and Her Sisters in a Puppy Chase that I watched some bits of. In it, her family gets stranded on a desert island, and her solution is to play a, like, what-if game? Like, what if a submarine comes along and rescues us right now? And then it doesn't? And I get the idea of, like, trying to keep her and her sisters from not despairing and keeping on the positive side, but it was just depressing them, and it just shows she's kind of not all there, maybe?
Well, here's the thing. Barbie's biding her time on this island. She's learning how to survive, and she's doing, like, reverse psychology on her sisters. She's trying to make them, like, so sad, but, like, they need to keep surviving. She's inspiring them to be okay in their current shit situation. Everything's fine at the end, so what difference does it make?
There you go. What fallacy is that? We don't have time. Let's move on. And now we come to the final part of rebuttals, which is the Buckaroo Banzai part. So Claire and Liz, go at him.
You've only driven in a straight line.
Hey, he curved.
And technically that straight line was right into a mountain.
That he went into the mountain on purpose because that's where the aliens were.
I'm sure that's what every person who's been in an accident says. I did it on purpose.
Except that the car didn't crash. He drove through it and came out the other side of it.
He didn't know what would happen.
No, but he knew what physics does.
Physics isn't real.
All right, so we know that Buckaroo Banzai does a lot of things, but I don't think we see a lot of evidence that he's good at a lot of things. Like, people say that he's good, but I think that's just because he's famous. Like, Anthony Hopkins has an art gallery in Hawaii that I went to, and everybody was acting like it was all great, but we only know that he only got an art gallery because it's Anthony Hopkins, and nobody would have given a shit about his terrible paintings if he just made them under a pseudonym. Like, everybody I went to art school can paint better than Anthony Hopkins.
I mean, I guess it's good that he's more talented than Anthony Hopkins. I mean, yeah, he is famous, but he didn't start out famous for one thing and then get to do all these other things. It seems like he got famous for a lot of these things at the same time, and so he just happens to have a weird Venn diagram of talents. But even if that's the case, then if everybody just likes him for no good reason, then perhaps enough people will just like him to go, yeah, that was an inspiring speech. Yeah, you are the best at horses, etc. I mean, you're making the case that it worked, so I guess it works. He's real good looking, though.
Yeah, it's Frank Welker. Like, I mean,
how dare you?
Your music makes people cry, and not in a good way.
In his defense, she was crying this whole time. I don't think the music helped or hurt in that particular case. I think Penny was on a very different emotional journey. I mean, he had 2 saxophone players. 2.
Well, I will say about that song, I just saw that movie, and I cannot remember that song at all, so...
I mean, I can't either, to be fair. But...
So he's reasonably competent in combat, but he never really does any mind-blowing action nonsense in the level of, especially Mario or Barbie in some of her, action-y movies. And he relies on his squad a lot for both things, and he's not going to have either here. So I'm not really sure if he's just not going to be quite up to the task for either, I don't think, by himself.
I feel like he's enough of a fucking weirdo that he'll just throw himself into it and get through it on his own anyway, because he walked into that situation with Lizardo and ended up getting tortured and was like, yeah, okay, I could deal with this. He's obviously bonkers. I don't know. I think he'll pull it out of the dive in that regard. I mean, yeah, he can't play two saxophones on his own. But what he can do is stand up there and look like Adam Ant and say weird shit and look soulfully into the camera and then croon some words.
Oh, man. That was all very beautiful, you guys. Listeners, I'm coming to you now from the tail end of the interdimensional Polymath Decathlon. Our three contestants have just put on what was, unquestionably, the three greatest musical performances in the history of the auditory arts. That means that we are ready to crown a winner. Or are we? No. The answer to that rhetorical question was no. For you see, this isn't a decathlon at all. And here you have to, imagine me reaching up to the big sign and peeling away the DE at beginning of decathlon. It's actually an entacathlon. That's right, an 11-match tournament, according to some extremely cursory Googling. But you don't need to have a very shaky grasp on the Greek language to guess at what the 11th round is called, because it's the lightning round!
Oh no!
As all fans of the interdimensional polymath entacathlon know, the 11th match is decided by the winner of the previous tournament. And we all remember how, in the 3018th entacathlon, other lesser polymaths like Artemis Fowl, Hannibal Lecter, Doc Savage, and Batman were all left in the dust by Ultrasonic Orca 1 million, whose demonstrations of fencing, chess, architectural design, and animal husbandry blew away all previous records and redefined each of those fields. Ultrasonic Orca 1 million has presented today's contestants with the following final challenge. Each contestant has had some degree of success in different forms of media. Mario, of course, is known for both his video games and for his live-action film. Buckaroo Banzai has an action film with a very devoted cult fan base that also inspired some weird collectible merch over the years. And Barbie's toy line has been sold around the world, as have her numerous video games. But only a true polymath could master all three of these types of media. So with that in mind, your challenge is as follows. Mario, I'm going to need you to come up with a line of dolls themed around you and your supporting characters. Tell me who gets a doll and what features those dolls have. Be sure to mention some of the accessories, playsets, and vehicles that kids will be clamoring for as Christmas looms ever closer. And, because controversy creates cash, tell me what issue will have overly concerned parent groups shaking their heads sternly. Buckaroo Banzai, your task will be to craft a video game around your character. What sort of game will it be? A platformer or puzzle game appropriate to the era in which your film released? Or something a bit more modern? Which characters will be featured? What sorts of gameplay elements will be included? And what is your final goal? And Barbie, I'll need you to craft a live-action film. Emphasis on the action. That's right, we need a high-octane summer blockbuster from you. So, let me know who you're casting, who's directing, what the storyline is, and some of the highlights so we can start putting the trailer together ASAP. And of course, this being the lightning round, we are starting at the end with Buckaroo Banzai. So Buckaroo Banzai, tell me about this video game.
So this is a dating sim, naturally.
Oh, is it? Interesting.
However, the other thing that it also serves as is kind of a prequel to the film. So whenever you watch the film, the Hong Kong Cavaliers are already a gathering, a clan, a group, a herd. I don't know what to call them. But we don't get the origin story of how did they meet? How did they all come together? All right. That's where this comes in. And what it is, Buckaroo Banzai going around and seducing each one of them in turn using a different part of his polymathlete-ness. So for one of them, they're really into physics, and he's like, I also am into physics. And so they really connect and bond over physics, and they have like an intense, night of physics together.
Bodies in motion,
Yeah, exactly. Vectors. Other things I forgot. I'm so sorry, Mr. Hansen. I'm so sorry I forgot other physics words. And then one, he's really into music, and so, intense rock music night, and also possibly sex. But, I mean, probably sex, because what I've called it is The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai across the 8 bedrooms. And so, by the end of it, he's gathered the entire party together, and they're one giant polyamorous group.
Oh my gosh.
All right, perfect. Game of the year. Next up is Barbie. So tell me about this movie.
This movie is a gritty action, heist, thriller, suspense film directed by Martin Scorsese.
Oh boy.
Let me introduce you to Last Good Barbie. Barbie, the main character, well, you'll see there's lots of Barbies, but anyways, our Last Good Barbie is played by none other than Charlize Theron.
Yeah, that's
Mostly
a good choice.
Because we know
Yeah.
she can have blonde hair, and I guess she's going to be blonde Barbie. The opening scene is a little controversial with the parents, because it opens with her looking a little gruff, taking a long drag on a cigarette in a ripped denim jacket with one of her feet against the wall she's leaning on. And in this near future, the Barbie hive mind has taken over. They've lost all control because evil Barbie, played by Cate Blanchett, has constructed a nefarious network of brainwashing machines that have taken over every Barbie in the world to do her evil bidding. So, Last Good Barbie, played by Charlize Theron, turns into a brainwashing, eliminating hitman, not actually killing anyone, but going around and sabotaging all the brainwashing machines. Washing machines. Okay, so it's a washing machine with a brainwave mechanism inside. So she goes around flooding them with water.
The perfect crime.
Wait, they already become flooded with water because they're washing. Where am I going
I
with
feel like this is getting away from you a little bit.
Anyways, she plants bombs, which is also controversial, and blows up the brainwashing machines.
Uh-huh.
And frees all the Barbies, and I guess shoots Barbie Cate Blanchett, which is also controversial. It's definitely rated R.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty intense.
Last Good Barbie. Go see it.
Yeah.
Opens next year.
Definitely. I'll be there opening night. All right, Mario, tell me about this line of dolls you got coming up.
Okay, so yeah, this kind of grew on me. I got a lot of different toy options here. The first one I was thinking is Build-A-Plumber. So it's going to work kind of like Build-A-Bear. You take a kid in, but they get to put together their own like Mario OC that's based on themselves, but they get like their own initial as a letter on their hat, and then their favorite color, they get like a little outfit of that color plus some overalls. And then regardless of, their age and gender, they still get a giant mustache in the middle of their face because that is obligatory. And this is such a big hit that they move on to doing more stuff, and they decide to make one of those like mystery box lines of toys where you buy them and they look like the little question mark boxes, but you open them up and they have like random like vinyl Mario figurines in them. And they start off doing all the normal Mario characters, but it's such a big hit that they go to like all of the obscure characters too who have not gotten toys before, so that you get like Geno/Gino, Malo, you get all of the WarioWare characters like Kat and Anna or Ashley. And they also decide to make all of these characters like amiibos, so you can like scan them and play them in other games. So this actually also allows people to play with all the characters they've always wanted in other games. And finally, of course, the last toy line that they make is the Trans Girls of Mario doll line.
Yay!
So we, of course, have Birdo, we have Vivian, and we have Bowsette. And this is the thing that is very controversial, as they said, with some of the more conservative parents out there. but it ends up being a really big hit. So they want to expand it, but there really aren't that many queer characters in Mario. So they end up just like retconning a bunch of characters. And by the time the line's over, every character in Mario is just some sort of like queer something. Luigi turns out trans girl, comes out after that. And Morton Koopa, trans. Goombario, trans man. Lakitu, non-binary. And Donkey Kong, trans ally. So, as we all know, I think that's it. At this point, this is just my dreams that Mario will, stop it and start getting better about things.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, I mean, who would have guessed that a Nintendo character would have been extremely toyetic? I'm shocked. Yeah. Well, nothing like a match in which I need to think carefully about 11 completely different challenges to make me kind of glad that this is my last episode as a judge. So I'm going to do some thinking about this, and then I will be back to render my decision.
Well, this was a thing.
I feel like this kind of distills what Smash Fiction is all about, which is just bonkersness.
But it's also like trying to be logical in an illogical world. Like, yeah. there were arguments made, and some of them were good arguments.
They were yours, Claire. It's okay. We know it.
I was watching a lot of Life in the Dream House, as we said, and Barbie does a lot of things. Like, she goes to space.
It's hilarious. I could not believe how much I was laughing at that. Audience, people, watch Barbie Dreamhouse.
Episodes are like 3 minutes long, and they're pretty good.
I think there's like, over 100 on YouTube?
Yeah. I watched one where Barbie and Ken, I think Ken buys a present for Barbie and their dog eats it. So they get in their airplane, which they own, and then hit it with a shrink ray, which they own, so they can go inside the dog's mouth to get the present back, and it's like a Fantastic Voyage thing.
Oh my god.
So, in the space episode, so it all ends, right? And she rescues Ken and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, her horse is behind the wheel of a space shuttle, just flies out of nowhere past the camera, and I'm just sitting there like, what did I just watch? Bob, you have to watch that one. If only for the horse.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm going to. It sounds like the Liz Logan TV show.
Anyway, this was fun, though. I have discovered over the past couple of years that it's a weird thing to be a fan of, but I've become a fan of Mario. It feels like such a weird thing to be a fan of because it's so ubiquitous and the lore is so shallow. It's like it's very wide, but it's not like connected or anything, and like each game is kind of very small in its own way.
Yeah, I went on a deep dive trying to learn about Bowser, and there was not a lot to learn.
You can't go in a deep dive. It's like a 2-foot pool. It's a very wide pool, but you're like, that's it? But I think like a thing that I like about it, as like a writer and stuff, they rewrite the setting to fit each individual game, and all of the design work of like the characters and everything is always really clear when it reads. It's very like functional. And the writing, especially like the RPGs, is always very like, it's funny and kind of absurdist, but it's really like straightforward and functional in a way that I respect sort of artistically, in the way that it's not like pretentious. It's not like up its own butt,
Yeah.
I don't know, Final Fantasy or whatever, which I love dearly, but is up its own butt.
I can completely get that.
I had one point I wanted to make. Peter Weller was surprisingly attractive in Buckaroo Banzai.
Right?
Quite a departure from RoboCop. And I was like, oh, why is that chick crying? I'm actually kind of into this.
I know. I thought he looked like kind of a weird Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, I see that. I do like some Tom Hiddleston.
I was kind of thinking if there was ever a remake of Buckaroo Banzai,
he could be it.
Well, I think you'd want to get someone who's actually partially Asian.
Oh, yeah, that's a good call.
Keanu Reeves, I think, would be the perfect Buckaroo Banzai.
Oh, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, you guys. Man, I kind of don't want to give my ruling on this just because I enjoyed so much of what you guys were saying, and, like, I just thought it was really fun. And also, it was really difficult for me to judge on this because, as I mentioned before, I had a lot of factors to take in. And then also, you guys were all, to a certain extent, like, questioning fundamental levels of reality in a way that isn't common in these matches.
I was just gonna say your ruling isn't real, so whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, you were saying Mario isn't real, and Barbie isn't a human, and Buckaroo Banzai only gets by because people like him and not because he's talented. It was like that level of like critical refusal to believe in certain core concepts that I had to kind of like navigate around. All that aside, I basically had to kind of like go down the list of all the challenges and really like think based on what you guys were saying, how I thought they would go. And that was a challenge in and of itself. And in the end, I do think that one character has a slight edge over the other ones in terms of just the number of challenges that they're going to be able to do reliably. And I think that character is Mario.
Yep, that was the right choice.
Yeah,
All right.
I agree.
But
I think it very much could have gone to either one of you. When I was doing the research, I thought you all had a very good chance. I'm very pleased, but I was not expecting that. So thank you.
Yeah, it was tough, but yeah, man, I thought you guys all did just wonderfully. Not only in terms of like representing your character, but also in terms of, you know, being very funny. I just really enjoyed hearing you guys talk and argue with each other, and it was great. So thank you for that. That was very nice to hear.
I personally think that the person that should have won is the person who's a fucking entomologist, and that's Barbie. Thanks for repping the bugs, Barbie.
Thanks. You betcha.
Tom, Fo, the bug thanks. Over to Twitter. Thank you to 3 owls in a completely different time zone. Oh, how are you guys doing over
Wow.
there? Joshua Unruh. Thanks to Jake the Gravy Drake. As if YDK. Vander Turner, Earth Mofo, and Bond. Cool Down Now, Sean Boyd, Florian, Ducko, Cosplay Devotee, Robert Ramsey, Jackson Bruheim, Jeff Rick Present, Cam, Icon Jade, On One Condition. Oh god, I'm not gonna make it, guys. Jake the Sad Jake, Smash Fiction, Don't Go. He snuck in there twice just to be sad. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, Jake.
Tryptophan and THC, which is obviously Fat Blunt 69.
Of course.
Gonna smoke a turkey and smoke some blunt.
Matthew Laserwitz, Shannon Maynor, and JJ Mason.
That was a long one.
Oh, Lord, that's what happens when you do a league. They just pile up on you.
I guess.
Over to Tumbles. Thank you to Sid Rebelblog, Felix Inklings, Daisy Loves Rumble. Loves that Rumble. And Not Very Bright Raven.
Caca.
Wark? It should be like a question. Over to Facebook. Thank you to Adam Mayo, Jeffrey Ketchum, Robert Ramsey, and Jeff Polier.
And thanks also to Ultrasonic Orca 1 million, previous winner of the Interdimensional Polymath Decathlon, a real jack of all trades, a person for all seasons, and a patron of ours over at patreon.com/smashfictionpodcast, which is why they ended up here in this particular episode. And this episode also was dictated to us by one of our oldest and most loyal patrons, Nate Swanson. Oldest as in was there from the beginning when we started Patreon. Not that he's like physically older. I actually don't know how old he is. I digress. He was a supporter of ours at the $10 a month level for, well, in his case, well over 3 months.
We know he is at least as old as our Patreon, right?
He is at least as old as our Patreon.
I like to
yes.
think he was spawned at the exact moment
Sure.
he created it.
Oh, wow.
Happy 4th birthday,
Yeah,
3rd
there you go.
birthday, whatever.
But because of his patronage, he got the chance to dictate a match to us. He submitted a number of suggestions to us, one of which was a match including Buckaroo Banzai. And boy, oh boy, did we spend a lot of time trying to figure out a match that could include Buckaroo Banzai. This is what we came up with. I'm rather happy with it, and hopefully Nate is as well.
I hope I did him justice.
Yeah. Oh, you absolutely did.
You very
him
much
justice. And other things on Patreon, we have an entire section of bonus content that has been filling up lately. Kit, back in October, did some bonus content in which she made a recruitment poster for the Extraordinary League, which is a stunning piece of artwork.
Oh, it's so great.
Thank you. It took me so long. I'm sorry it was late, guys. Every star hand stippled.
It was great.
I didn't need to, but I'm a perfectionist and I still don't love it.
I love it. I think it's great. And then in November, Miles and Claire had a very fun discussion about Jurassic World. If you found your appetite for that discussion whetted a few episodes ago, go check that one out.
The episode ended up coming together really well. I was very proud of it. Miles and I had a really good in-depth conversation for about an hour about the Jurassic Park movies. It was really fun. So. And
then this month, in December, our very own MeganBob is constructing another piece of fan fiction using 2 fictional characters that our patrons voted on. Which characters are those? I guess you'll have to find out, but I'm very excited because every one of her fanfics has been a delight in very different ways, I have to say.
You think it's all smooches. It's not all smooches. There's a lot of smooches. That's your jam, but it's also it's all the things. It's all the feelings.
Oh, thank you. That's the best endorsement for my fics I have ever gotten. Thank you.
All the feelings.
Read MeganBob. It's all the things.
Yay!
They're all good things. They're all good things, not like fucking mosquitoes or something. They're good things. So by now you probably saw it on our social media if you follow us, but we would like to give you a postcard to, I don't know, say thanks for everything. The postcard will be a bit of my league art, and all of the hosts are going to sign it. And if we used to only give those to our patrons every holiday season, but this is our last one, so we wanted to offer that to everybody. If you would like a postcard, please email your address to smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com, and please put the word postcard in the subject line. That makes it really easy for me to find it later when I'm filling all these postcards out.
And please do that by the 1st of January, correct, Kit?
Yes. Please send them in as soon as possible. If I don't get in your address in time, I might not be able to order extra. I had to do a rough estimate on how many people were going to actually want to get these. Maybe. If you get your stuff in on time, I can order more and actually get them all signed. If I don't get your shit on time, you might not get a signed one. So hustle.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again so much for joining us tonight on this episode of Smash Fiction. Join us again next week for the final episode of Surprise Party. Smash Fiction is produced by MeganBob, with logo design by Claire Mulcairn.
Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod at Incompetech.com for our theme song, Hitman.
You can find us on Twitter at SmashFicPodcast and search for the Smash Fiction Podcast on Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Smash Fiction is made possible thanks to our supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/SmashFictionPodcast. Please consider donating as little as $1 each month. It helps us keep the show going, and we have great rewards and extra content for those who help us out.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight.
What have I done?
You've basically given me everything I was hoping to get in Mass Effect, but didn't, so there you go.
Yeah, this is what I wanted. This is what I wished Mass Effect was, but Mass Effect denied me at every turn, so this is my attempt to remedy that, but just with this group of weird dudes.
Oh, hey guys, You know what?
What's up?
I was putting together a list of queer Mario characters, and I totally missed that there's a little star in the Paper Mario games named Twink.
Oh, man.
Shit.
Oh, that's good.
I'm sorry, Twink. I'm sorry I left you out.
Boy, this is just gonna be your quest from here on out. Just placing every Mario character on the spectrum somewhere.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
Twink is out and proud saying what his deal is.
That's right.